All right, we are live.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the RDU Buzz, where we are going to talk about all kinds of news developments, all rotating around Raleigh.
Yeah, absolutely. And just so everybody knows, we actually we launched a brand new Instagram page this week, also called the RDU Buzz. So you can look us up on the RDU Buzz, and essentially it's going to be I I really the information that we put out on these lives, but in a much more condensed format. So,
Yep. And then additional things about restaurant
Yep.
reviews and parks and things to do like recreationally through the area. So definitely be sure to go give us a follow over there. We'd love to have you following along on our new account.
Yeah, absolutely. So tonight we got a lot of cool topics tonight. The first one we're going to talk about is and by the way, make sure to put in the comments where you are joining from.
Yes.
We always like to see where folks are joining from. So if you have questions as we are talking, feel free to throw them out there. But tonight we're going to be digging in first on a plan that was put forth by a consulting group. I could probably find who the consulting group is, but that doesn't really matter. But essentially, it is a plan to help revitalize the Fayetteville Street area of downtown Raleigh. So if you've ever been to downtown Raleigh, Fayetteville Street is really kind of a unique street that it feels right now it feels very sterile, I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of just
There's a lot
boring.
of stuff around
Yeah.
it, but it's a very sterile street. Like
Yeah.
there just isn't. It's just a bunch of kind of tall buildings. There's not a whole lot going on there, but it has a ton of potential. So you've got the state capitol that's right there. You've got a bunch of museums in that area. You've got a park in that area. So it has a ton of potential. It's just not really being used to that potential.
Yeah. It needs some flair.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so Raleigh put forth this study that was done by a consulting organization, and essentially the City of Raleigh and an organization called Downtown Raleigh Alliance, it essentially kind of assigned them tasks of things that they need to do in order to accomplish these recommendations. And I just wanted to walk through these recommendations because I think some of them are actually really good. And could bring a lot of value to downtown Raleigh. So
yeah, a lot of the ideas are really interesting. It's kind of funny because when you actually read through the plan and see the concept art of what they can do, it's really, really cool. There's some little things that we'll get into that it's funny, like on Facebook, I think I saw some stuff about this shared a week or two ago, and people were just complaining already. It's just like so funny. Everybody has something to complain about. But I think a lot of these ideas, I don't see why anyone would have an issue with it happening. I think it would definitely better the appearance and the I think it would make people want to spend more time downtown.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to share the screen here so y'all can see it. But so the very first proposal that they put out. So if you've ever been on Fayetteville Street, you know that it is a very wide sidewalk. I mean, there is an enormous amount of space on Fayetteville Street. And this report basically came out and said, hey, there's a ton of room on Fayetteville Street, but it's not usable. The way that it's laid out, where you have and you can kind of see on this chart, like, and it is true. And I've never really thought of that, but that it's a fantastic point. It's essentially you've got all this space and you're not using it well. And so their recommendation is to essentially redesign the streetscape of Fayetteville Street so that you can allow things like outdoor dining and all these other things that really would not have room for right now. So
Yeah, because there's like little, like they show like planters and stuff like that are like just kind of small, but also in the way. So if you remove some of that, you could have like more benches, more places to sit and enjoy, and kind of get rid of some of that, like, I don't want to call like a planter useless, but it doesn't serve as much purpose as like having tables and stuff outside of a restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. So they're basically saying, hey, clean up the space, and this is a good example of that. But basically, hey, clean up the space, make it more usable, allow restaurants to come in, and then because I mean, our area, January, February, kind of not great months as far as outdoor dining goes. But I mean, once you get into like the latter part of March through the rest of the year, you could have some really good outdoor dining there, and that just doesn't
Yeah.
take place on Fayetteville Street. So
And people love outdoor dining
they
too.
do,
So
they
it would
do.
definitely, on a nice night, especially like a summer evening, there's just nothing better than eating outside.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I thought that was a really good one. So
Yeah.
the next recommendation was to essentially ensure that downtown is clean, safe, and vibrant. So this is one that received some of the pushback because one of the recommendations um, was more public restrooms, and I think what they recommended were what some other cities are using in their
Yeah.
areas that have been essentially repurposed for other uses.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of are like little bathroom pods. So it's
Yeah.
not like a building with public restrooms, but it would be like this little pod, I guess. And I guess in some other cities, people say they get like used for criminal activity. So that's not great. But hopefully
Yeah.
that wouldn't happen here. I mean, you got to have ways to manage things like that. But you got to have a bathroom. So
Yeah.
that's what it is.
But I mean, I think adding stuff, and this is a picture of essentially what the study recommended and what folks said were being abused in other cities. But I mean, I feel like this area has enough public restrooms. I mean, Moore Square is right here, and they have public restrooms. So
Yeah, but I'm sure that some of that it might be like locked during the
Yeah.
night or something. So I guess this might be like kind of more open all the time. And I'm not quite sure. Like the one on the left says it's self-cleaning. I don't understand how that would
Yeah, I
happen.
don't either.
But I mean, hopefully it wouldn't just get like left there and no one ever comes to clean it. 'Cause
Yeah.
I would not like
But
that.
one thing they recommended kind of as a subcategory to this one, as far as having a clean and vibrant, this would really go into that. Obviously, public restrooms is more on the clean side, but for the vibrant side, they mentioned expanding free parking in downtown Raleigh, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I think that would attract more people to downtown Raleigh, because
Yeah.
if
No one wants to pay to park. That's the
yeah,
worst.
exactly. And I don't have the statistic on it, but downtown Raleigh today, compared to pre-pandemic levels as far as foot traffic goes, is way down. It's
Yeah.
way down. And so I forget what the statistic is, but it's pretty significant. And so this study is trying to get ahead of that trend so it doesn't get worse, but so essentially they can reverse it.
Yeah, for sure. Let us know what you guys think about public bathrooms like these. Do you think it's kind of like an eyesore? Do you think it's a good idea? And I guess, a way of like saying it keeps things clean.
Yeah.
If you're going to have people that have to use the bathroom, you don't really want people like using the bathroom in public. So it does give a private place to use the bathroom and a cleaner way to do it. So, I mean, that is good. And it looks like, they have hand washing stations and stuff in there. So I think there's good elements to it, but I could also see the argument that people don't want to see something like that taking up space. But I think there's cool ways. Maybe you could it says funded through outdoor advertising. So maybe it's like more bright and colorful and doesn't become like an eyesore. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. So the next thing they recommended was developing a family-friendly itinerary and route around Fayetteville Street. And I think what they're trying to get to at this is, again, if you've ever been to the Fayetteville Street area in Raleigh, there's a lot to do, but it's not really clear where that is. So you're close to Moore Square, you're close to the Marbles Kids Museum, which is a fantastic place to take your kids. You're close to the North Carolina History Museum, and there's more museums.
Yeah, there's
the
big
Museum of
Science Museum there,
the Science
which,
Museum.
by the way, is free to get into, which is really
is.
cool. So definitely, if you're looking for something to do and you're like, I'm tired of spending money on admission, Marbles isn't free for kids, but it's not too expensive. But those other two, the History Museum and the Science Museum, I think it's called the Museum of Natural Sciences, but make it sound easy, we'll just call it the Science Museum. It's a great museum and it is free to get in. So it's a really fun thing to do with your kids. But yeah, they're not that far apart, but you don't necessarily see one from where the other one is located. So I think some people might miss it.
Yeah. And they use some examples on here. I'm gonna try to scroll down to them, but basically having here we go. This is a good one where you have like a clear path, kind of like this right here, like a sidewalk that essentially guides you to where you're going.
Yeah, with like stuff painted, you know, like,
Yeah,
oh, Marbles
and
is only a 5-minute walk.
yeah,
Like
and
things like
you know, I mean, like I look at this and I'm like, it's small stuff, but again, Fayetteville Street is so sterile, and so like this kind of would kind of spice it up a little bit,
yeah. And
make
then
it feel a little more
I
lively.
personally really like the colorful sidewalk. I think it looks really cool. And then it kind of leaves room to like maybe let local artists help out with like murals on the sidewalk. You know, downtown Durham did this with a lot of crosswalks. They
Yeah,
have like these really brightly painted crosswalks, and I love it. I think it looks really cool. And just it makes the crosswalk more evident that it's
hmm
there. And then it's also just it's really pretty. And they've
yeah,
actually that was probably I don't know how many years ago it was that downtown Durham did that, but it's held up well. And I think it's been like I think it was before the pandemic that it started. I could be wrong
yeah,
about that, but I like the idea of it.
yeah. And I mean, when you compare downtown Durham to downtown Raleigh, I feel like downtown Durham is ahead of Raleigh in this, and there's a lot of things I would say Durham is behind in it when it comes to like comparing Durham to Raleigh or Wake County. But downtown Durham I think is ahead of Raleigh when it comes to
Yeah, I
creating
think
like a
downtown, yeah, it might feel like a little
area.
more colorful, a little more vibrant, but Raleigh has more things to do downtown. So if they could like bring in some of those things like Durham has done with like the colorful sidewalks and more murals and stuff like that, I think it would be just an amazing place to be.
Yeah. So the next idea was to basically turn this area into, it says market the downtown core as North Carolina's Main Street. And essentially, they threw out some suggestions that I thought were, I mean, I could I could see some of this going well, but essentially take like some of the things that North Carolina is great at, like so I think of, you know, things like North Carolina barbecue and like trying to recruit some of those restaurants and shops to come down to this part of downtown Durham or this part of downtown Raleigh and basically making it like North Carolina's Main Street. Like what is North Carolina known for? And let's make that here
Yeah.
on this street and kind of advertise it. But I feel like you just take whoever's the best. You don't necessarily have to recruit
Yeah, yeah.
like
It
a
doesn't have to be like we have
yeah.
to have a barbecue place. We have to have, you know, I don't know. I don't know what else it would be, but
Yeah.
yeah. But that's a cool concept. I mean, I do like it.
It is. And I mean
I'm all for any good restaurants coming. And there's
yeah.
a lot of good restaurants already in downtown Raleigh. So adding more would be great.
Yeah, and they, you know, I mean, part of that too. They talked about, you know, doing like different food truck rodeos throughout the week and doing those what are those called, the pop-ups basically.
Yeah, right,
And
right,
yeah,
right.
kind of doing that all throughout it, which I think could help. um I think what this study's trying to get at is Fayetteville Street is sterile and not lively, and just anything can help.
Yeah,
I mean, if you
yeah.
had to sum up this study, it's like everything is going to help.
Yeah, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with Fayetteville Street. It's just buildings inside. You know, it's like I guess it's like the quintessential just like kind of concrete jungle. So to have I think they just want to bring in more color. They want to bring in younger people and well, all people, but I think, you know, trying to get people with families and kids and stuff to come in would be really cool. And one of the things I know Zach, you scrolled past it already, but trying to integrate the different like kid-friendly things with the museums. They were talking
Yeah.
about from Moore Square, like putting up almost like a bridge
Yeah.
to Marble,
Which
so
I
you don't
think
even have to
that's a
cross
really good
the
idea.
street with your kids, which I think is really cool. That road's not too bad.
It's not.
But just the concept of it is kind of neat.
Yeah. And that's the very last one we're going to get to kind of expands on that, and that's the one I'm probably the most excited about because I think it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah. And Earl is tuning in from Springfield, Massachusetts. He's visiting Raleigh next weekend.
Awesome.
To seeing
Yeah.
all the
Well,
great things.
yeah. Thanks for tuning in, Earl. And yeah, I hope the visit goes well.
Yeah, and safe travels coming down. Hopefully
Yeah.
the weather was really nice today. I don't know what it's going to be like next week, but hopefully you'll get some
Yeah.
warm weather when you come down.
Yeah. Hopefully so. So
You
we're
can keep
like
don't
cresting.
bring down the Massachusetts weather.
Yeah, we're starting to get out of winter now.
Yeah, it feels like it's kind of felt
amazing.
like spring. So I'm like, I don't want any cold weather again.
Yeah, it's amazing. Idea number 5 on here was to celebrate Raleigh's Black business district and to highlight the rich history of Black-owned businesses. And one of the ideas they threw out here, which I thought was kind of cool, was basically create like you know, different art and like story tours of these, you know, these historic areas when it comes to Black-owned businesses. And so I think and that kind of goes along with, you know, what what they're talking about as far as like no one, you don't really know where any of the stuff is, or
Yeah.
like even and this is kind of a side point, but Andrew Johnson, I believe it was the president.
I think
He was
so.
born off of the Fayetteville Street area, and like you don't know hardly where any of that stuff is.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to this like highlighting the black business district and black owned businesses, like you don't know, and so you got to highlight that stuff. And that's what number 5 was. I think so. Number 6 was add housing around Fayetteville Street. So if you want to make like Fayetteville Street more vibrant, you gotta have people living
Yeah, for
around it.
sure. Because people
You
aren't
have
gonna.
to.
Yeah, I mean, at
I
the
mean,
end of the day, if it's not convenient to get to it or something
Yep.
like that, you're gonna be kind of limited in how many people are gonna regularly come in and enjoy it. So having people that are like living in apartments or condos and things like that are right there. I mean, that's fun. You live right
Yeah.
there and you're like, I'm just gonna go to all the restaurants that are down here, and there's always something going on. I mean, you're going to spend all your time out there because it's going to be your yard.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think this is, if I had to pick one that is the most important to revitalize Fayetteville Street, it is making housing around Fayetteville Street,
Yeah,
repurposing some of those buildings, which essentially recommendation, take some of these buildings and repurpose them. They even threw out, an older parking garage that's underutilized, like redevelop that for housing. And so, I think that's a no brainer that has to happen if you're looking to make this area better.
For sure.
So the next one, let me go back. I had to jot. So this is an 84-page report, by the way. I went through it and I had to jot. It's so long. I had to jot down notes of, it's so much. So I read it, so you don't have to read it. But it is crazy. Oh, so this one use public space for they said use public space for neighborhood livability. So there's some of these like passageways, and I'm gonna share the screen again. So you have some of these like passageways here.
In between the buildings.
Yeah, in between the buildings. That, again, they're just like very like sterile.
Just a sidewalk.
Yeah. And so essentially the study's like, hey, you should repurpose that. You should make it into a park. You should put playground equipment onto it, turn it into a dog park, like do something other than just like concrete and tree planters.
Right. Yeah. Even simple things, just they said like putting up string lights.
Yeah, like string lights and like add color to it. So they kind of use some of these examples. Like you got this little grassway here. You got a space here that people use for exercising. And so, just make it like colorful and fun and vibrant looking and lively. And so I thought that was pretty cool. So but these cut throughs, I mean, we were literally just on one of these the other day filming a video. And I mean, they're massive, like they're really wide.
Yeah.
And like there's
so
a lot,
like
there's
kind
a lot
of a waste
space
of
there.
space not to be doing something. And I love like the murals and things, if you've ever been to Wendell Falls, the neighborhood, in their commercial space, I feel like they have done such a good job making things look really nice and colorful and vibrant. Like, I don't know if they have like a rule in the commercial space that the sides of buildings have to have like a mural on it, but it feels like, maybe 30% of the space in Wendell Falls, like the side of the Starbucks has like this huge like mural with like a dogwood tree and a cardinal. And then you have like a gas station that's got like all these bicycles painted on it. And it's just really like whimsical and fun. And I love the idea of them like thinking about doing that in between the spaces. Just gives people something to look at and makes it feel colorful and fun.
Yeah. I think that would be great.
And Crystal says, has Fayetteville Street always struggled to be lively, or is it a post-pandemic issue? I think it probably was more lively at one point in time. So I think, since the pandemic, the foot traffic has gone down a lot. I think just in general, probably everywhere, right? Like everyone just got a little too comfortable staying home all the time. But also a lot of different places have kind of opened up since the pandemic that probably draw people to other sections of Raleigh, so whether that's different parts of downtown, or they're like, oh, I'll just go to North Hills, or I'll go to, there's just so many other places too. So I don't know if it's never been lively or if it's just, I don't think it was ever like I feel like it's not like it was like colorful and lively and then it lost its luster. I think it's just this could make it so much better and make it more appealing to bring people back in.
I think, with places like, I mean, in our area at least, like downtowns aren't really the center of life in our area. And so I think there's always, going to be kind of this like struggle between like downtowns and then like the more suburban areas where life really happens and where people, where like the parks and the coffee shops. And I feel like in our area, that's more of where life is, and so kind of the downtown areas struggle a little bit unless you have big,
like the daytime. I think at like in the evening, the restaurant scene downtown is really cool.
I feel like Fayetteville Street's probably the opposite though. I feel like it's lively during the day because of the work.
Well, and that portion of downtown I don't think has as many restaurants. I feel like it's more businesses, government buildings, and like the museums. So yeah, I mean, it could use more restaurants. And RJ said, what's the best place to eat at? That's a hard question. If you're downtown, there's a lot of good places to eat. I mean, it depends on what you're looking for, but I really like Taverna Agora. It's like a Greek restaurant, but it has a really cool like rooftop patio portion. So the food's really good, but it's like the atmosphere is really cool downtown.
Have I ever eaten? I don't think I've ever eaten there.
At Taverna. Yeah. I don't know if you have.
I don't think I have.
Yeah. But it's really cool downtown. In general, around Raleigh, oh my gosh, there's so many good restaurants. It's hard to say which one's the best. What do you think? Zach will probably say Prime Barbecue in Nightdale.
I'm such a bad restaurant person. Yeah. I find my like one or two restaurants I like, and that's what I stick to.
Yeah. Yeah. And Raleigh has so many
It does. We did eat at, this was Morrisville, so it didn't count. So I was going to talk about that Italian place we had the other day.
Oh yeah, we recently tried out Baby Moon Cafe. It was so good. It was really cute. It's like,
but it's in Morrisville, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, near the airport. So if you're traveling in and need a place to go near the airport, it's like kind of has like a moon and stars theme, I guess. It's an Italian restaurant, but the ceiling all lights up with like these little fiber optic stars. So it's very quaint and romantic. It was very cute.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
So the next one is there's like this this plaza called City Plaza. I'll show a picture of basically right here. So again, I mean this is like a great example of Fayetteville Street, where it's just kind of like sterile. Like there's a lot of concrete and these glass buildings, and that's kind of just what you get. And this report was like, hey, you should completely redesign this so that it's suitable for stuff like this, like
and ice
seasonal pop-ups
really
and
I like
pop-ups.
I guess that's in the summer. It's roller skating, and then I don't know what these giant foam blocks are, but it looks.
I don't know, but it looks fun. Like that looks like a lot of fun.
Around.
And so
fitness
anyway,
classes. I mean, it would be super cool to see stuff like that, and that would be a lot of space. I could see something like a smaller pop-up version. If you guys are local and you're ever in Cary in the holiday season, they have the Chinese Lantern Festival, which is like amazing. And that would be enough space to have it, not enough for the whole Lantern Festival. They could even do like a little miniature version, like a free advertisement version, and then tell people to go see the real thing.
Yeah.
But, they could do some pretty cool like holiday displays down there, I feel like.
Yeah. But I think, I mean, there, I think this study is trying to encourage Fayetteville Street to become more like festival friendly too, where there's just more, there's just more to do.
Yeah.
Which when you think of downtown Durham, again, like you have the Durham Performing Arts Center, the DPAC, which is well renowned, has excellent shows. You have the Durham Bulls. So like you have a lot of this stuff going on downtown Durham, which is I think what Raleigh. And so number 9, talking about the DPAC, number 9 on this report is to grow Raleigh's arts and entertainment center. So Raleigh has a performing arts center, but it just doesn't carry the weight that Durham's does.
And I don't know if we could really sustain like 2 DPAC style. Like
DPAC
probably brings off-Broadway production. So I mean, I guess I don't know, but it would still be nice to see. And we already have some other concert venues around Raleigh, but it would definitely be cool to see something else pop up down that way. Would be really neat. For more like plays and stuff. There's already a concert venue close to there. What's the name of it? Red Hat.
Red Hat.
It's kind of downtown, but not close to Fayetteville Street. But it would be cool to see like an indoor place for like plays and stuff like that to become a little more lively.
Yeah. So the last one, and this this is the one that I'm probably most excited about. Is essentially create. They say create a bold. What was their language? Create a bold connection south of downtown. So you have Fayetteville Street here. You have Dix Park down here. Cindy just mentioned Redhead Amphitheater. You got it here. And then you've got, the historic Black Business District, City Market. So you've got like a lot going on in this region. And they're basically saying, hey, you need to have a connection point from Dix Park all the way up. So I know we've mentioned it before, but the development that's coming in Raleigh, in downtown Raleigh South, is going to be significant over the next decade or two. And there's going to be a lot going on down here. And so this study is basically thinking about that. It's thinking about what's going to happen with Dix Park, the changes that are coming in that area, basically saying, hey, you need to be able to connect that to downtown. And the reason I like this, because they use the word bold. And I don't know if y'all remember me. If you've been watching the show for a while, you might remember this, but there was talk, and I mean, who knows the reality of this, but essentially like a chairlift. What do they call it?
Like a ski lift, or
like a ski lift.
Like they call
gondola,
it
like a gondola
Skyliner,
system.
kind of like a gondola.
Yeah,
system.
from like Dix Park to downtown Raleigh, which I absolutely love it. And they used the word bold. They didn't mention it in this study, but they used the word bold. And that was the first thing that came to my mind, because that was something that's been talked about before, basically having this gondola style system connecting Dix Park into downtown Raleigh, so you could get from one side to the other.
Yeah, or maybe a monorail. Love that. Yeah, a little monorail could be kind of cool.
This isn't Disney World.
As we continue to piggyback on Disney World ideas.
This isn't, no. Yeah. But I mean, what this study did recommend is essentially, hey, you need to, at the very least, have a strollway or a parkway or something that connects it. And what they did, so they looked at different areas and how they had, this sidewalk. This is a rail trail in Charlotte. I don't know. I think I don't know what that is. I should know what that is, because I used to live near Charlotte. The rail trail.
I don't know.
I don't know if there used to be like a rail line or something that they turned into a bike trail, but something like this connecting the Dix Park area to downtown Raleigh. So
I like the one on the right,
really cool.
the Scottsdale, Arizona one with the little artwork on the.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah,
pretty.
That is cool. That's really cool.
I like that.
It's really cool. But anyway, so those are the 10 ideas that this study put out for the city of Raleigh. I think a lot of these would be really good ideas.
Yeah. If there's any that you really like and you think would be great, or any that you think are terrible ideas, definitely put them in the comments. We'd love to see your thoughts on it, especially about the little bathroom pods.
Yeah.
Those seem to be a little controversial. So
yeah. They were controversial.
I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. Or if you don't like it, what's the best way to have more public restroom availability that doesn't involve like going into a restaurant or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. And and if you have just tuned in recently, please let us know where you're watching from. We love to hear where everybody is tuning in from. So definitely let us know. And
Earl, I think we missed this, but Earl said that he is planning on moving in April. So that's awesome. That is right around the corner.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. Hopefully the market will calm down a little bit before you make that transition. So Alex joining in from Jacksonville, Florida. So very cool. Very cool. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about. So a report came out saying that Raleigh was the #1 city for first-time homebuyers, which kind of
very interesting.
Yeah, which kind of took me off guard. Honestly, I wouldn't expect that, just because of how competitive the market is right now. We're working with some first-time home buyers, and it's tough. It's tough to be a first-time home buyer right now, with rates where they are and the competitiveness of the market, and having to go over asking and large due diligence amounts and all that kind of stuff.
The study didn't take anything like that into consideration. It was more, and they should have named it "Cool Places to Live." I feel like, but so, that's all right.
So, and we'll get into that in a second, but. Raleigh carry #1, and lowest violent crime rate, mortgage rates, and home price appreciation. So it's funny that they factor in mortgage rates, because they're largely going to be standard everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, technically, yes, they do change like state by state and region by region, but it's not like huge. It's not like you can get 4% interest rate if you move to Alabama and 8% somewhere else.
Yeah, but here, they say comparative affordability and safety. Raleigh Cary residents. Again, Raleigh Cary is the metro. So if you look at U.S. Census data, it's Raleigh Cary, and then Durham Chapel Hill is its own metro. Low crime, affordability, exceptional greenway system, diverse art scene, and free museums, most of which we just talked about.
Yeah.
So, and temperate climate. So,
helps.
Yeah, it does. It does. Let me go. I'm going to scroll all the way down here and then show you all the methodology. So the reason this isn't super, super helpful is, again, when I think of a competitive, or when I think of an area that's good for first-time homebuyers, I think of, essentially a marketplace that's easy for folks to enter that aren't able to pour in all this equity they just earned over the last, decade.
Right.
Or an area where you're not having to go above asking and compete on every single house. And that is not our area. So
yeah. The market since January has been pretty competitive. So a lot of the move-in ready type homes are definitely going to be multiple offer, and the ones that are the most affordable will for sure be multiple offer situations usually. So most first-time buyers, I mean, not all of them, but most of them are usually entering in on the more affordable side of the market. So it can definitely be a little bit difficult. And we're sorry if you guys hear screaming children. They are safe and okay. They're all playing downstairs, but
anyway, so how they came up with Raleigh as number one, they looked at financial factors and they looked at quality of life factors. So the financial factors were mortgage rates. Again, kind of bizarre they're including this because these are not like, state specific. Average home prices, property taxes, and home value changes. And then the quality of life factors were violent crime, property crime, temperatures, racial diversity, and unemployment. So, which when you're looking at all those factors, like Raleigh's going to rank really high. It's a safe city, got great weather. Your average home prices comparatively, when you're looking at, other places in the country, it's still relatively affordable. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like when you're looking at it from that lens, it makes sense. But I think if you're looking at it from a competitive standpoint, our area is really and is competitive because of this. These reasons are why it is competitive to buy here.
Yeah.
So this is less of a great place for first-time home buyers to buy in than a
great place to move.
Yeah, a great place for people to live in.
Yes.
And for first-time home buyers to live in. So.
And Gabriel had a good point about the bathroom pods downtown. It said bathroom pods could look cute if they were made out of brick. No, I can't read it anymore.
Sorry, I put it up here.
Also, a lot of events happen on Fayetteville Street, so it'd be useful for that. I totally agree. I love the idea of brick. It doesn't look like it was just like placed like this little box, So the brick is actually a really good idea.
That is a good idea.
I think it blends in better. And there's not actually a lot of brick downtown. Like most of the buildings are already like steel. So I think having like more gray metal, we could change it up and have the brick would be kind of nice.
No, I know. I mean that's true. That's a really good point.
It feels
so
classier.
It does. Like it does. Sarah said hello from Mebane. Hello,
Sarah.
And we've got Divya from Houston. Awesome.
Hey,
yeah,
Divya?
good to see you. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Well, and then we got Next Level from Raleigh.
Thanks for tuning in again. We missed you last week.
Yeah. So, all right, on to the next one. So, actually, let me go to, because we talked a long time about Raleigh, so I'm going to cut some of these out. So we'll end with these next two. So there are some, I don't know if y'all play pickleball. I've never played pickleball in my life, but it's a really big deal.
It's
I want to play it.
popular right now. Yeah.
But there are
people are just like forget about tennis. We're just playing pickleball now.
There are two massive pickleball facilities coming to the Raleigh area. The first one, I won't share the screen
because it almost feels like an understatement. They're huge.
So this one right here, this is going downtown Raleigh. It's a company called Pinpoint. It was founded by three friends. One of them was a quarterback at NC State, so he has local ties. I'm sure all of them have ties to the area, but it's going to be I've seen this both ways. I've seen largest indoor pickleball facility in the country, and I've seen largest indoor pickleball facility in North Carolina. So I'm not sure which one it is, but regardless, it's going to be really large.
I heard largest in the universe.
I'm going to respond to that. It's 71,000 square feet. And it's going to have, I think they have it down here, 16. Sorry, I'm going to pause this video so it's not playing. There we go. 16 indoor pickleball courts, 8 indoor golf simulators, an indoor chipping and putting area, and a full service bar, and a golf and a pickleball pro shop. I love that.
Shop. For the pros.
Yeah. I've been to a golf pro shop before, but never a pickleball. But I mean, this is really cool.
Pickleball stuff.
Yeah, so you got all the pickleball
really
courts.
Cool, and it reminds me. This one's like indoor, so it's kind of like, I feel like this is like a kind of a play off of like a Drive Shack or a Top Golf, where it's like a fun place to go hang out. You can have a corporate event. And I love that it's indoor, because I mean, it's great. You could do it year round. It could be raining, and it's still going to be open and fun. Yeah. So the golf, the one thing that separates us, so I know it said at golf simulators. So, those are kind of like your indoor, where you like hit a golf ball into a screen, and then it kind of shows you, its trajectory, where it's going. Yeah. So it's not like Top Golf, where like it's actual driving range. But yeah, so I think it's really cool. Last week I talked about how Raleigh, Top Golf is opening soon. We have Drive Shack here. Like, Raleigh needs more stuff like that, and this is a really good step. It's nice to find recreational spaces that are really more for adults and not just like places for just for kids, but like places that are more geared towards adults to go and like meet up with friends and have community, especially post-pandemic. I feel like people don't know how to make friends anymore, and they don't want to hang out with people in real life. So this kind of encourages people to come together. So I love it. Yeah,
I do too. So I think it's going to be really cool. It'll be downtown Raleigh, off of Wilmington Street. So I think it's going to be really cool. Yeah. And speaking of pickleball, also, there is another pickleball facility.
2024 is the year of pickleball.
Yeah, it's a $70 million tennis and pickleball facility opening up in Brier Creek. So this one's going to be outdoors. Yeah. So if you don't know where Brier Creek is, basically if you know where the airport is, it's like right there. Yeah. So it's
like the middle of the triangle. It's like
it's in that general
convenient
region.
Yeah. When you live here, that's just where you meet everybody, because it doesn't matter where you live. I swear everybody can get to Brier Creek in like 30 minutes. No matter where you live at, everybody's 30 minutes from Brier Creek or closer. Yeah. So this is a cool location for it. I didn't know there was even that much land near Brier Creek left, because it feels like a very developed area. But I think this is really cool.
It is, yeah. And I mean, it says it's going to open by 2024, which is this year. So
yeah, the other one too. They must be also this summer,
they must be pretty far along.
Yeah. And we need to drive around and try to find this place.
It is so one of the folks on the board and kind of making this happen is John Kane. So I'm assuming this is the same Kane that owns Kane Realty, that developed North Hills and is developing downtown Raleigh South. So but 70 courts for pickleball, tennis, paddle, and other racket sports. So it had a list down here. It had things I've never even heard of before. Oh, here we go. 29 tennis courts, 24 pickleball courts, 16 courts for paddle. I don't know what it says. Spanish sport
that's a mixture of tennis and squash.
I don't know what that is. Several beach tennis courts. I don't know what that is. I've never played beach tennis. And a ping pong center. So I mean, this is really cool. So anyway,
and it says there'll also be like some restaurants and bars there, so that people can like meet up before and after games. So I think that's really cool. I really do love it. We've had a lot of other people asking questions over here. Boris is coming to Raleigh. Welcome to Raleigh, or soon anyways. Boris, hope that you enjoy your visit in May. Well, hope you enjoy moving here in May and in your visit next week.
Yeah, moving to Raleigh in May. Very cool. Yeah. We have we do. I mean, for folks who are coming to the area to visit, we do have an area guide. So feel free
Yes,
if you want
please
to,
reach out
if
to
you want to
us.
like
We'd
shoot
love
us an
to
email
it
or
to.
whatever.
It's got restaurant recommendations and things
Yeah,
to
yeah.
go check out.
It's not real estate specific. Obviously, we're happy to help with the real estate specific stuff. If you wanted, but if you just wanted like, hey, we're coming into town, we're exploring, we want to know, if you're bringing your kids, like what to do with kids, all that kind of stuff. We got a guide that kind of, walks you through that. So feel free.
Yeah,
but yeah, sure. I hope that goes well, Boris. So
yeah. And then Crystal coming over from Southport. Very cool. Over on the coast. That's really neat. Looking for a house in Raleigh. So welcome to Raleigh, Crystal. And
yeah.
Sam asking about parts of Orange County, like Caldwell, Cedar Grove, and Buckhorn. Caldwell and Buckhorn are really not like towns of Orange County. All of that's really going to be either Hillsborough or Durham. Some of Buckhorn might be considered Mebane. So generally Orange County has kind of a rural feel to it. Mebane's more developed, I would say, has like a lot of shopping and things like that in the area. But Caldwell, we don't live too far from there, is pretty rural.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree. So perfect. Well, I think that is, we have to relieve our child. We have more topics, but it's
Zach just went on and on about.
I know. Well, I didn't realize those 10 topics.
So much that
I didn't realize those 10 topics were going to take so long.
Yeah. And RJ from Hillsborough wants to know if you ever coming back to visit his hometown, what would be the best spots to see and visit? Well, RJ, probably since the last time you were here in Hillsborough, the Riverwalk opened about 10 years ago. I don't know if you've seen that yet. And it is so great. It kind of goes downtown through Hillsborough along the Eno, and it's all paved and it's wonderful. Right there by Weaver Street Market. So if you're in Hillsborough, definitely that. There's a lot of fun restaurants that have opened in Hillsborough probably since the last time you were here too. So definitely check those out.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, and then did you hear about it's being built?
Swing.
I think so. I think
the world's largest sports facility.
I feel like I did. Sarah. I don't know. So there were so many things that were popping up when I was. No, that's the one. I think that's the one we just talked about. The swing paddle racket.
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
That's the outdoor one.
Yeah, that's the outdoor one in Brier Creek. I knew that name sounded familiar. Yeah. So Pinpoint is the one downtown. And swing paddle racket is the one that will be in the Brier Creek area. Yeah. So cool. Well, I think that's everything that we have tonight. So I really appreciate y'all tuning in. We will not have a live next week because we have some family coming in town. But we'll be back the week after on the live. But seriously, for those of you who are coming into town, if y'all want like an area guide, feel free just to shoot us an email. Obviously, you're on our YouTube channel, so I think if you look at our email is somewhere on the YouTube channel. It's typically
info at honeycutteam.com.
Yeah. But you can find it like in the description of the videos in there as well. So you can just shoot an email.
Yeah.
And we'll get that area guide over to y'all. And then try to help out any way possible. So, but really appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. And we will see y'all, I guess, next
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Not
2
next
weeks from
week,
now.
but
Yeah.
the week after.
Yeah. Awesome. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys.